Hi everyone! Designed to enable the teaching and learning of plainchant melodies, the hexachords, devised in the 11th century by Guido expanded and organised the medieval gamut. Originally consisting of only hexachords on the notes G and C, known respectively as the hard and natural hexachords, with the soft F hexachord added later, the three hexachords are structurally identical, comprising a central semitone surrounded by tones. To create the F hexachord semitone, a B flat is required, which is additional to notes of the original gamut. To represent the notes of each hexachord, Guido took the sounds of the initial syllables from each line of the office hymn Ut queant laxis, the melody of which may have been composed by Guido for this purpose. Use of the resulting 6 syllables was known as solmization, but they were also termed voces musicales. Across the gamut, 7 hexachords were used, and because each hexachord overlaps with the next, some notes may be known by more than one syllable. This C, for example, is fa in the G hexachord and ut in the C hexachord. When learning the gamut's notes, therefore, students were expected to memorize all syllables, sometimes resulting in compound names, a practice which continued into later centuries. In this passage from Fuchs's Gradus, for example, the D and G are also written with their 3 solmization syllables, denoting their location in each hexachord. While the system of compound names could be used to identify specific pitches and specific octaves, the D in Fuchs's text, for example, can only be the D above middle C, as the other 2 Ds are known as Sol Re and La Sol. This method was not without exceptions. The G in Fuchs's text, for example, uses the same 3 syllables as the G an octave higher, as does the A and its syllables. These labelling ambiguities, however, were not necessarily problematic, as melodies were typically learnt in context using the appropriate syllable or syllables as required. Visual aids were also used, such as the so-called Guidonian hand, which locates the syllables on the fingers of the left hand. Because few melodies would remain in a single hexachord, a system of moving between them, often termed mutation, was devised. In this system, the student would choose a suitable note common to both hexachords, and much like a pivot chord, would use it to leave the first hexachord and continue in the next. Often several possible mutations were available, however students would endeavour to remain in the same hexachord for as long as possible, and typically avoided a hexachord's ut syllable as a point of mutation. In the first of these 2 short responsories, for example, although the F hexachord could be used from the beginning, inclusion of this D means a mutation down to the C hexachord is necessary. The C hexachord is therefore probably the better choice, as it allows the entire first responsory to be sung without the need for mutation. The C hexachord can continue to be used in the beginning of the second responsory, however the F hexachord is needed for these notes, perhaps using this G as the point of mutation. A return to the C hexachord is then needed for this phrase before the F hexachord can be used for the remainder of the work, with the student again possibly using G for the mutation. Especially during the Renaissance, composers often assigned the sounds of Guido's hexachord syllables to certain vowels, a process termed Sojeto cavato. How composers use this process will be the topic of other videos, however it could be applied to single words or to an entire name. Josquin de Prez, for example, uses the following hexachord syllables to represent the vowels of this mass title. The resulting syllable sequence he then uses periodically as a motif throughout the mass. At the beginning of the Kyrie, for example, Josquin applies the sequence to the C hexachord. Because the same syllables are found in all hexachords, however, the same syllable sequence may be used in other hexachords, such as here where Josquin uses it on the G hexachord. Josquin could have also mutated during the syllable sequence, creating other note sequences. Applying hexachord syllables to vowels and using the resulting syllable sequence with different hexachords was a common compositional feature of many Renaissance works. Composers, however, would always endeavour to keep mi and fa as a semitone in the resulting note sequence. Looking at the three hexachords, however, mi and fa doesn't always have to be a semitone, but can also be a major third, major sixth, minor sixth, and tritone. The tritone, however, is the interval to which theorists are referring when they discuss mi against fa, such as in this passage, again from Fuchs's Gradus, where the teacher Aloysius explains to the student Josephus why the tritone should be avoided. In Guido's Gamut, the combination of the F and G hexachords is the only means of creating the chromatic semitone between B flat and B natural. Many theorists therefore discourage the mutation between these two hexachords, except in later chromatic works. I hope you found this useful. Thanks for watching. See you next time.